Gear 5 is officially Luffy's peak, and in the Wano arc, Luffy unlocked not only that, but he also got Advanced Armament Haki and Advanced Conqueror's Haki. But after the Egghead incident, it has become clear that he's still got room to grow, as he was unable to really hurt the Gorosei, and he showcased some clear stamina issues with his Gear 5th throughout the arc, like in his fights with Kizaru and the Gorosei. So in this video, I'd like to speculate on what Luffy's future power-ups could be. I'll focus on not only what he'll learn in the Elbaf arc, but also what he may unlock after Elbaf 2. First off, I just want to say that Elbaf has already been a great arc for Luffy in power-up, as he has finally showcased complete mastery over Gear 4th. During Wano, Luffy used a Snake Man attack on Kaido, and then immediately switched back to his base form without any consequences of Gear 4th. And then, a little bit later on, he was able to switch from Gear 4 Snake Man to Bound Man on the fly, again without any drawbacks or consequences. And while this was a massive upgrade and a big step toward Gear 4th mastery, it wasn't until the Elbaf arc that Luffy showcased complete mastery of Gear 4th, when he used a mini Gear 4th Kong gun. And this scene really amazed me, and I honestly felt really proud of my boy Luffy, as I have wanted to see him master Gear 4th just like Gears 2 and 3 for years. And now he's definitely there, as using mini Gear 4th attacks in base mode is a massive buff. And honestly, if this Luffy was fighting Kaido one-on-one, using a bunch of Conquerors infused mini Gear 4 attacks at the start of the battle, before going into other forms, that might really shift the way the fight could go. But anyway, when it comes to Elbaf, I think there are definitely more things that Luffy could learn other than his Gear 4 mastery. First off, let's talk about Haki. I think that this could be the arc where Luffy starts to learn the way that top tier characters like Shanks, who only use Haki, really fight. So that means that first off, whether Shanks ends up showing him or he ends up copying it from Shamrock or some other character, I could potentially see Luffy unlocking the ability called the Killer of Observation Haki. It has been stated that Shanks has this ability that allows him to stop characters from sensing him or seeing the future during a fight, therefore killing their observation Haki. Now, whether this technique is a Conqueror's or observation-based ability itself is yet to be seen, but I think it could be a combination of the two that you unlock by having really high Conquerors and observation. And that's why only top tier characters like Shanks and maybe Shamrock or a few others can do it. And this kind of ability could definitely help Luffy, as Future Sight could be a major factor in some of his upcoming Final Saga fights, like once again, potentially Shamrock. So, turning off an opponent's Haki could be crucial for Luffy in the future. Next up, we have what the fanbase calls Wi-Fi Haki, which is another technique used by Shanks, where he makes his Conqueror's Haki travel for literal miles and has it strike Ryokugyu, causing him to leave his Logia form. This is definitely something I could see Luffy getting one way or another in Elbaf. It could serve as a good long-range attack for Luffy to use, and we've never seen him use Conquerors to force somebody out of their Devil Fruit form, which would be a nice ability to have up his sleeve. And along with just improving his Haki in general, I think that these abilities would be great for Luffy to learn, either from Shanks or just in reference to him. I think Luffy still has room to grow in terms of his Haki in general, as we have seen that he's not quite at the peak of any form of Haki, as he hurt his hand by hitting Warcury despite having armament on, and we know characters like Mihawk, who is known as the Clairvoyant, can see people from much longer distances than Luffy, and there are people like Shanks, who can see further and further into the future, and characters who also have mastered Conqueror's techniques, all of which Luffy will probably learn at some point. Next up is Luffy's Devil Fruit. While he has mastered Gear 4th, Luffy has not quite mastered Gear 5. I think that a lot of his Gear 5th mastery will come from finally understanding his Devil Fruit and what it truly is. With the knowledge of him being a sun god, I could see Luffy's power reach far greater heights. I believe that there is potential for Luffy to stop Gear 5th from making him laugh and not take things seriously. While I'm sure Luffy will always be fun and laughing in Gear 5th, as that is literally the point, it would be nice for him to acknowledge that he doesn't yet have full control over it. And then we could finally see him able to control his attitude in his ultimate form. And we could get more, not a lot, but some more scenes of a more serious Gear 5th Luffy. Also, I can't be the only one who's waiting for the next rendition of Luffy's red attack. He was able to use a fiery red hawk since the time skip, and then a Gear 3rd red rock in Wano. So where is this whole fire attack theme going? Well, looking back, these attacks were probably foreshadowing Luffy's true Devil Fruit being that of the Sun God. But then, why doesn't he have any fire attacks in his Sun God form? Well, I think Oda has been saving them for later, as Luffy finally using fire in Gear 5th will be a major upgrade and moment for him in the story. Also, calling these type of attacks red really makes me think that Luffy will get his Gear 5th fire attacks here in Elbaf, where red-haired Shanks will probably show up. Okay, so now that we've done Devil Fruits and Haki, I guess I'm supposed to talk about base stats, like his raw attack power and speed and such. And while I do think they are important, I think that these just improve for all the Straw Hats every arc. So I don't have much in particular to point out, other than stamina, as Luffy definitely needs to improve his stamina for Gear 5th, as he is currently too reliant on needing food often in battle. So some general stamina improvement would work wonders, though it's hard to say if Oda would ever want to start limiting restrictions on Gear 5th when it's already so broken. It's going to be crucial for Luffy to have these types of buffs for both Devil Fruits and Haki, as he will need great Haki to be able to stand on the level of characters like Shanks, Mihawk, Shamrock, and Prime Roger and Garp. And like Kaido said, Haki reigns supreme. Also, if Blackbeard were to absorb or take Luffy's fruit away for an extended period of time with the Yami Yami no Mi, like maybe with an awakening technique of the fruit that allows you to take someone's power away after touching them with darkness, then Luffy will have to rely fully on his Haki to fight Blackbeard. But I think that his Devil Fruit is also just as important to upgrade, as I think Luffy serves the role in the story of showcasing the perfect balance of Devil Fruits and Haki. Someone like Law would rely heavily on his Devil Fruit, while someone like Shanks would be a Haki purist. But Luffy will represent the best of both worlds, and he will showcase how the ultimate path is to be great with both his Devil Fruit and his Haki at the same time. And that is the power that in the end will defeat Imu, the God's Knights, Blackbeard, Akainu, whoever Luffy needs to defeat at the end of the story. He needs to learn the Haki of Shanks, Roger, and Garp, while also learning and understanding the lore and importance of his Devil Fruit, and that will take him to his final form. Though obviously if Luffy is to live past the end of the story, he will definitely still have some room to grow even when the story ends. And next up, I'd like to talk about the other Straw Hats upgrades in Elbaf in the future, but I think I'll save that for a future video, as there's a lot of talking points on that, especially when it comes to Zoro and Sanji and even Usopp. Well, that about does it for this video. You can leave a comment about anything I mentioned or anything that you believe I forgot. Also, don't forget to subscribe, or you might get hit by a Gear 6th Haki Man punch.